Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to look at the 2 to 6 player game, Hold Your Fort. It takes about 30 minutes to play. We're going to go down to the table here. I'm going to give you a general idea of how the game plays, and we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, so we're going to just briefly go over the game Hold the Fort. Now, Hold the Fort, what you're going to do to start out the game is you're going to separate these fortress cards out. You'll shuffle these fortress cards out and you'll hand one to each player. Now the fortress cards, the important thing on here is going to be the symbol. So the symbol can match your heroes and they can do different things. The effect is listed on the top. So that'll be taken into account when you're actually fighting. And then what you're going to do is you're going to deal out, you're going to separate first all of these cards with the red back, so it'll just leave the normal cards in there. And then what you're going to do is, depending on the player count, so if you have 2 players, you're going to deal out 6 cards. Any other player count, you're going to deal out 4. So if we have a lot of players, we'll deal out 4 cards to each player. After we deal out those cards, like I said, if it's 2 players, it's 6. You're going to then shuffle these cards in. Now, if you do an action and you pull one of these cards, you're actually going to immediately do that. Otherwise, you're going to just put whatever card you drew into your hand. All right, so there's a couple different things that you're going to do before the game starts. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at your hand and you're going to pick what is going to be defending your fort. Now, like I said, the cards that match the symbol are going to get that bonus. So maybe I want to use this character right here, which is going to have a 4 power, but it matches that symbol. And then I'll take my super powerful guy because I'm going to be defending my fort, and I place those 2 down in front of my fort. So I'll have 2 cards left in my hand. Now, you will win or lose the game by eliminating, you'll win the game by eliminating all the other opponents. You'll lose the game if you have no heroes defending your fort. And the only way that's really going to happen is if your heroes are defeated and you can't replace them with cards in your hand. So that is when you're going to when you run out of cards, you basically lose the game. Now there's 3 different things you can do on your turn. You can recruit, well actually, technically, it's just recruit, or you can defend and attack. So if you recruit, you're gonna simply just draw a card off the top of the deck. Now if you draw one of those red cards, you're going to do exactly what it says. So this says pick a card at random from another player's hand. Every player, defenders move to the player's left, so they'll shuffle the defender cards around. Or you can attack, and if you're going to attack, you can pick up to 3 cards in your hand and lay them face down. When you attack, you're going to roll this die, and this die will determine what the bonus is. Now, one thing I did forget to mention is before you roll that die, and before you flip these cards over, you can ask your opponents to see if you can get anyone to help, and if they want to help either defending or attacking, they can contribute 1 card from their hand to the battle. Now, after that's done, you're simply just going to flip these cards. You are going to roll this die, and depending on the face that's rolled, you will look it up in the instructions and these different things will happen. If you roll this, just combat ends and people die. But then you're going to take these bonuses, plus the defender will take the fortress bonus, see who has the highest value, and whoever has the highest value wins that combat. Now there's 2 different outcomes based on who won, and we'll go over those now. If the attacker succeeds, the defender's cards that were defeated are added to that player's hand. So that player will get these cards. Then these cards will be removed from the game. So the attacker will remove those cards from the game. And there's a sequence of cards in there so you can pay attention. So these cards will go to the attacker. Then the defender must, if they're able to, pick up to 2 cards from their hand and place them down to re-defend their fort. Now, if that person is not able to play any cards, they're out of the game. And if that happens, the attacker will now get that person's fort. So there's a lot into trying to pick off another player that was attacked by someone else. So there is a lot of situations where the defender can get help from other players just to prevent that other player from getting the fortress, which is very powerful and nice. If the attack fails, the defender wins all the cards that the attacker used to attack them. They then take their defender cards too, and then they can rebuild their defense on there. So it's very powerful in fortifying your area. Plus you get cards in your hand. That now makes the attacker vulnerable to the other players. So I think this game plays really well two-player. So there's a lot. It just plays really fast and nice at two-player. But if you're going to play with other players, a higher player count is nice. And there's a little bit of ganging up in the game, but in general, with a good group, there's a lot of push and pull in there because you don't, like I said, you don't want people getting these fortresses. So it's in your best interest that someone doesn't get knocked out of the game unless you do it. So that is just a basic overview of how to play the game. Let's go ahead back up to the table here and I'll give you my final thoughts on Hold the Fort. Okay, so Hold Your Fort isn't really a game that's up my alley too much, but it is still a decent game. Now this is going to be a lighter game. It's going to be a game that you're going to take to just play with family and friends at different functions and stuff. It doesn't take very long to play. You can get into a state in this game where it takes a long time, and there's a lot of back and forth on there. But in general, it's not going to take that long. There's a nice bit of strategy on there where you have to, where you can determine like which cards you're going to play when. You're going to try to hold different cards that match your fortress. There's the die faces that can help boost and stuff in the combat that help add to a little randomness in it, like the Fog of War idea. So there's a lot of good to be said about this. The dice, high quality cards. The die is really cool, and I like the custom faces that are etched inside of it. So, and it's nice and portable. It's very small, so you can take this around and you can just play it as a light game at the end of a game night or in between games. So this is a game that you may want to give it a play, and if you're looking for something like that, this might be the game for you. So that is our review of Hold the Fort. Thank you for watching.